Those birds are ruining property values." That's what she shouted over the fence, like she was testifying before Congress. This isn't a farm. This is a planned community. She waved her clipboard like a sword, accusing my chickens of moral collapse. But what Karen didn't know, what she never thought to check, was that the coop was built with full city permit, signed off by my father, who also happens to be the mayor. The coop was small, elegant even. White trim, solar roof, 6 hens and a rooster named Vice President Peck. It sat behind the shed, tucked under a maple tree. No smell, no noise, unless you count an occasional balk at dawn. I'd spent 4 weekends building it with my dad. He brought the blueprints, I brought the labor. Together we installed it the week after my fiancé moved in. We called it the Executioner's Roost, pun fully intended. Karen hated it. We knew it from the moment she saw it. One morning, she peered behind the fence in a sun hat and a fake smile. "How charming," she said, eye-twitching. "Rural nostalgia, right here in the suburbs." She came back an hour later with a tape measure. Didn't ask, didn't knock. She measured the height, the length, even the hens. Yes, she measured the chickens. Then came the first letter. Typed, 2 pages, signed, K. Sterling, HOA President. Unauthorized agricultural structures are strictly prohibited within HOA jurisdiction. Article 12.5. No livestock, poultry, or farming activity may be conducted in a residential zone. At the bottom, immediate removal required. Failure to comply may result in legal action. She even bolded it. I smiled. Printed a copy of our city conditional use permit. Attached, my name, the Coop's plans, and a digital signature from Mayor Timothy Alden. I left it on her porch with a sticky note. Better luck next citation. The next day I caught her on her knees behind my bushes, taking photos. With a DSLR. She didn't even flinch. "I'm documenting for enforcement," she barked. "And I'm documenting you for trespassing," I replied. She stood, dusted herself off. "How do you think you're above the rules?" "No, I just know how to follow them." She paused. This isn't over." "It never is, Karen." Later that night, my dad called. She sent a letter to city zoning. Let me guess, citing Article 12.5? Yep. Did she forget your names at the bottom of the approval? She did, but don't worry, I replied. What did you say? Just 3 words. He's my son. The next morning, someone egged our mailbox, which, given the theme, I have to respect. Your chickens are a political statement. That's what she accused me of. Like I had painted "Don't tread on me" on their feathers. You're using livestock to intimidate and provoke, she said, standing on a folding step stool just to look over my fence. They're hens, Karen, not henchmen. Things escalated after the egging. The next week, she started handing out pamphlets door to door. Printed in color, glossy. Front page. The Barnyard Uprising, a neighborhood at risk. Subtitle. Is your child safe with livestock next door? Inside, pictures of my coop, photoshopped with flames behind it. And beneath it in bold font. Hens today, pigs tomorrow. Even Tom from Lot 5 shook his head. This is next level. Karen called an emergency HOA meeting, said we needed to restore visual and ethical standards. Only 10 people showed up. 4 left before she finished her second slideshow. But I went. I brought Vice President Peck with me, in a little crate, with a bow tie. She stood at the front, flipping through a PowerPoint titled, The Poultry Menace. Feathers carry mites, she declared. Coops invite snakes. Roosters are violent, territorial creatures that scream at sunrise. Actually, and I said, he just crows once at 6:15 and again when you walk by. Chuckles. This isn't funny, she snapped. I stood calm and measured. I submitted permits. I followed zoning code. I even installed a sound dampening fence. These birds aren't a threat. They're breakfast. Laughter now, louder. What's really going on, Karen? She stared at me. I don't like being undermined. You don't like not being in control. You're mocking the rules. No, I said. I'm proving that you don't get to rewrite them just because something makes you uncomfortable. She went quiet, then looked around the room. Nobody came to her defense. Even Tom pretended to check his phone. The meeting adjourned early, but before she left, Karen turned to me and said, "You and your father have turned this place into a circus." Funny, I said, because you're the one juggling lies. The next day, a reporter showed up. Local news. We heard about the HOA henhouse drama. Mind if we get a shot of the Coop? I agreed on one condition. You get a quote from Vice President Peck. They did. Ran it on Channel 7 as a feel-good feud. Headline: HOA president ruffled by rooster. Mayor's son holds his ground. Karen wasn't mentioned by name, just referred to as a vocal resident with strong opinions, which, let's be honest, was the most polite version of the truth possible. That night, someone taped a drawing to our fence. Crayon, sloppy handwriting, clearly a kid. It showed a smiling chicken holding a sign. Let him stay. We framed it. Hung it above the Coop. We've had enough of the tyranny of talons. That's how she opened her second HOA mass email. All bold, all caps, with a stock photo of a chicken mid-flap like it was about to hijack a plane. The email went out to 84 residents. She CC'd animal control, city zoning, and the local newspaper. Subject line? Invasion from the Coop, blue suburb at a crossroads. It linked to a petition. Ban backyard poultry in Blue Ridge Estates. Only 6 people signed. 2 were her relatives. 1 was a fake name, Eggward Featherbottom. And 1 was Tom, again. But she didn't stop at emails. That weekend, she showed up at our fence wearing a suit jacket. Yes, a full suit jacket, like she was about to debate a senator. She brought a megaphone. Citizens of Blue Ridge, she shouted. Do you want pests, pecking, and poultry propaganda in your peaceful community? The hens ignored her. Vice President Peck fluffed his feathers and pooped near the fence. A personal statement, I assume. I stepped outside. Karen, you're trespassing acoustically. I have a right to protest. Not with amplified nonsense and not during nap time. The girls just laid. She tried to keep shouting, but it turned into a coughing fit. The megaphone squealed like a banshee and cut off mid-screech. I waved goodbye. Let me know when you want to schedule a constructive dialogue. The next day, we got a letter from Animal Control. Not a citation, a thank you. Apparently, they'd received Karen's report and came by to inspect. They found a spotless coop, documented vaccination, proper feed storage, and even labeled nesting boxes. The inspector wrote, "This coop is the cleanest I've ever seen. You should host tours." We framed that too, right next to the crayon drawing. Then came the twist. One neighbor, Mrs. Patel, came to visit. Quiet lady, sweet smile, lived 2 houses down. She handed me a Tupperware of biryani and said, "My granddaughter thinks your chickens are magical. Every morning she waves to them, they cluck back. She named the white one Justice." Then she added, "By the way, I work at the newspaper." Wait, the one Karen emailed? She smiled. "Oh, we didn't run her story, but we'd love to run yours." So they did. Full spread. Sunday edition. Title: From Pecking to Politics, A Son, His Coop, and the Chicken That Crowed Back. They quoted Vice President Peck again. It was ridiculous. It was beautiful. Karen was livid. She tried one last move. Filed a complaint with City Hall. claimed the mayor had used his position to benefit his son. That's when the gloves came off. Dad held a press conference. Simple, professional. No podium pounding, just facts. No preferential treatment was given, no rules were bent. The permit was reviewed by a third-party ethics panel. My son is a citizen, just like any of you, and yes, I helped him build the Coop. I'm proud of that. He paused. This isn't about birds. It's about one woman who believes authority gives her the right to bully. He smiled. Turns out it doesn't. The footage went viral on local social. Someone added chicken clucks under every Karen interruption. The remix hit 200,000 views in 2 days. And on Monday morning, Vice President Peck laid his first egg. Yes, he turned out to be a hen all along. We renamed him. Now she's Madam Secretary Cluckburn. She called the Department of Public Health. That's what the voicemail said. A city inspector trying not to laugh. Apparently someone claimed your chickens are spreading airborne pathogens across the neighborhood. Karen's final act wasn't dramatic. It was desperate. She sent anonymous tips to every agency she could Google. Sanitation, noise control, health and safety, animal cruelty, all under the name Concerned Citizen of Blue Ridge Estates. Spoiler, her email was literally karendiashofreemail.com. The health inspector came by. Polite guy, looked exhausted. I'm sorry, but I have to investigate. Protocol. I led him to the coop. He looked around. The hens cooed politely. Madam Secretary Cluckburn pecked at his boot, then strutted off like royalty. He laughed. They're cleaner than half the restaurants I inspect. He left 20 minutes later with a dozen eggs. But Karen wasn't done. That night, I caught her on camera again. 3:12 a.m., creeping along the sidewalk in a trench coat, holding a flashlight and a tape recorder? I watched the feed from my phone. She whispered, evidence log, chicken noises increasing, possible rooster rebellion, neighbors compromised. Then she tripped on the curb and fell into my recycling bin. You can't make this stuff up. The next morning, my neighbor texted, got her on my ring cam, full fall, slow-mo, want it? We made a GIF, labeled it, Karen Coop Contingency Plan Fail. Send it to the HOA WhatsApp. It spread like wildfire. Then came the letter from the HOA board. Patricia and Brenda had seen enough. Karen Sterling is hereby suspended from all HOA duties, privileges, and communications pending formal review. It wasn't just about the Coop anymore. It was harassment, malicious reporting, and yes, trespassing with a flashlight at 3 a.m. The vote was unanimous. Even Tom abstained, which in this case was basically a vote for us. Karen didn't show up to the next meeting, but someone did. A young couple new to the neighborhood. They raised their hands and said, we'd like to start a community garden. We were told the HOA might not allow it. Patricia smiled. As long as it doesn't involve weaponized tomatoes, we're good. The room laughed. The couple nodded. Yeah, we'd also love to have chickens someday. Everyone turned to me. I gave them a thumbs up. Later that day, I found a small envelope in my mailbox. No name, just a card inside. It read, you won this round, but I'm still watching. No signature, of course, but a tiny feather was taped to the bottom. I showed it to Madam Secretary Cluckburn. She blinked once, then laid another egg. That night, the hens were especially calm. The wind was soft. The neighborhood was quiet. And somewhere, deep in the shadows behind a fence, a flashlight probably clicked on again. But this time, she wasn't the only one watching. She moved out. That's what Brenda said. One sentence, no drama, no announcement. Just a U-Haul at dawn and a clipboard-shaped dent in the trash bin. Karen Sterling, self-declared savior of suburban order, was gone. The house listed online the same day. No open house, no goodbye. She left behind a dying rose bush, a faded enforce the code lawn sign. Say, in a neighborhood finally breathing again. The HOA didn't celebrate, but we did exhale. Tom finally deleted the Karen alerts folder from his inbox. Patricia changed the board rules to require 3 approvals for any complaint submission. Brenda started a garden committee. Someone even made tote bags that said, "Cluck around and find out." As for the Coop, it thrived. We added a second ramp, a sunshade, and a nameplate. The house that Karen tried to ban. We held an unofficial ribbon cutting. Neighbors brought deviled eggs and puns. A kid brought a chicken plushie with googly eyes, named it Deputy Noise Violation. A reporter came back to do a follow-up story. Asked if I had a message for Karen. I said nothing, just held up a carton of fresh eggs. On top of the lid, a printed label. Certified HOA compliant, approved by the mayor's office. Later that week, a new family moved into Karen's old house. 3 kids, golden retriever, 0 clipboards. They came by to introduce themselves. We heard there was some drama with chickens. Past tense, I said. They smiled. Our daughter has always wanted one. So we helped them build their first Coop. Smaller, simpler, but still proud. Madam Secretary Cluckburn personally inspected it, then strutted away with a satisfied squawk. The neighborhood was changing, not into a farm, into a community. A few nights later, I stood at the edge of the yard, watching the sky dim. The hens clucked softly in their roost. Lights flicked on one by one across the street. Quiet, peaceful. No megaphones, no measuring tapes, no drama, just the kind you choose to laugh about. My dad called. "So, how's Blue Ridge?" "Little brighter," I said. "And the birds?" "Still laying, still legal." He chuckled. "You know, some people go to law school to fight HOA battles. I just needed a hammer and a rooster." He paused. "I'm proud of you, kid." I looked out across the neighborhood. I think Madam Secretary is too, because sometimes the best way to shut down tyranny is with a Coop, a signature, and just the right amount of cluck,